Kita tunggu sekejap.
Okay.
Actually kita tengah tunggu MC kita. Tadi dia terkeluar daripada online.
Okay, no worries.
Thanks, Uma.
There's a bit of technical problem with MC. So before we start, I would like to remind everyone to register first before we start the program. Thank you.
Is that for us?
No, for the participants only.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Testing.
Yes,
One-
we hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry for the inconvenience because I have some problem with my laptop. Okay, let's start again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon to all. My name is Muhammad Aidil Shazwan bin Shazlan, and I will be your MC for today. Firstly, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our live webinar, ODL and COVID-19. Check in your mental well-being, organized by Student Community Law Club, SCLC, of Faculty of Law and the student body of Faculty of Electrical Engineering, Sekretariat Mahasiswa Fakulti Kejuruteraan Elektrik, SMFKE UiTM. I would like to thank the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Student Affairs, Prof. Dr. Abdullah, Faculty of Laws Dean, Associate Professor Dr. Hartini Saripan, Faculty of Electrical Engineering Dean, Associate Professor in Senior Technologies Dr. Juliana Johari, Deputy Dean Student Affairs FUU Dr. Siti Hafsyah Idris, Deputy Dean, Student Affairs, FKE, Associate Professor, Dr. Technologies Azlina Idris, SCLC's Advisor, Nazratun Naim, and SMFKE's Advisor in Senior, Dr. Norfara Aida Abdurrahman. Next, before we continue, let's start the forum with Dua recitation. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala syafri amriya wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah ya Rahman ya Rahim, sesungguhnya kami berhimpun pada hari ini bagi menyatakan kesyukuran di atas kurniaan-Mu yang tidak ternilai. Jadikanlah kami hamba-hamba-Mu yang sentiasa bersyukur sama ada nikmat yang sedikit, lebih-lebih lagi nikmat yang melimpah ruah kepada kami. Ya Allah ya Hayy ya Qayyum, sesungguhnya Engkau Maha mengetahui bahawa kami di sini ingin menimba ilmu-Mu yang sangat luas bagi mengembangkan potensi kami sebagai hamba-Mu yang Engkau redai. Justeru, berkatilah dan rahmatilah perhimpunan kami ini. Kurniakanlah kepada kami apa kiranya ilmu-Mu. Sinarilah hati-hati kami dengan cahaya dan hidayah-Mu. Semoga dengannya kami mudah menerima dan menghayati serta mengamalkan. Ya Allah ya Ghani ya Hamid, kurniakanlah apa kiranya kepada kami kesihatan anggota, kecerdasan minda, ketenangan jiwa, kekuatan semangat. Semoga dengannya kami mampu menepani cabaran, berdaya saing dan mampu mengangkat martabat diri, keluarga, masyarakat dan negara. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Dear audience, for your information, this program focuses on mental health of students, especially who are facing difficulties to adapt to the new normal, which is the online distance learning process. Therefore, this program will discuss in more details regarding the issue in order to help students to have a clearer and easier academic session during this pandemic. Before we start, I would like to introduce our speakers who have joined us today, starting with Dr. Nurjana Nasution. She holds a Master in Medicine Psychiatry and Bachelor in Medicine and Surgery and BBS, and is now working as a psychiatrist at Hospital UiTM Sungai Buloh. Our next speaker, Wan Anita binti Abu Bakar, is the founder and managing director of Kaiser Publications, a household name in the Klang Valley with respect to Islamic education and da'wah in English. Wan Anita is passionate about spreading the knowledge of Islam in the community and is an advocate of mental illness, being a recovering patient herself. She hopes to reduce the stigma while reaching out to the mentally ill who are battling the illness alone and in silence. And last but not least, Ustaz Muhammad bin Abdullah. Not only he is a Shari'i law practitioner, but he also holds a professional diving license from the United States of America, USA, and is also recognized as the commander of the public safety dive in 2017. Without further ado, we would like to call upon Fatini Nordaini binti Hishamu Bakri as the moderator to initiate today's forum. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Everyone, can you hear my voice?
Okay, loud and clear.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum and good evening to all. Welcome to today's forum. First of all, I would like to thank all of the audience and participants for attending the forum on online learning and COVID-19, checking your mental well-being, which we will share some knowledge regarding mental health issues and also online learning. So I am Fatini, the moderator of today's forum. And also I would like to thank our panelists. Thank you to Dr. Jannah, Wan Anita, and Ustaz Muhammad Amin for your willingness to participate and flexibility with time for the forum. Before I start, I would like to inform all participants that join us. Feel free to provide your questions and concerns in the YouTube chat box, which during Q&A section later, I will forward the questions and will be posing it to our panelists. Okay, without further ado, allow me to start the session. Regarding mental health issues, the spread of COVID-19, which would need us to practice social distancing, shutting down all schools, which need us to switch to online learning. While this can be a useful tool to keep education from being interrupted, it can make it more difficult for students to maintain their mental health. So that is why mental health is one of the major issues that faced by students, because taking care of your mental health while you're studying is one of the most important things that you need to do to keep you focused. So let's get right into our first question to Dr. Jannah. As we know, doctor, there are still many that don't really understand what does it mean by mental disorders. So, what are the most common mental disorders, the signs or symptoms, and how can we identify if our family, close friends, or even we ourselves are experiencing these mental health issues?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum to moderator, to Puan Anita and Ustaz Amin. It's an honor to be invited today and to speak with renowned speakers such as Puan Anita and Ustaz Amin. I'm looking forward to learn from them today. I hope to share my experiences and to answer some questions for our students from Faculty of Law and Faculty of Electrical Engineering. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Dr. Eva, and all the organizers who have invited me. I think this topic is very important as I myself as a lecturer from the medical faculty, I think I'm also affected with the pandemic because we are 100% on ODL, open and distant learning. We half-heartedly would like to proceed with it, but we have no other choice. I miss having face-to-face interaction with my students the most. I guess those are the little things that I've taken for granted. But anyways, those are the things that we reflect and grow from. So I'll share some of my slides that I have provided to answer the question for today's forum. A bit of time for me to share my content. Okay, is my slide on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the topic today is online learning and COVID-19. And the question that was asked from me are what are the common mental health problems that we face on day-to-day life? So first and foremost, thank you to all viewers for joining us today. It is very important for myself and I guess for all of you because not only that the COVID-19 has been affecting us physically, but more importantly, it is affecting us psychologically and emotionally. So today, in order to answer your first question, I would need to also talk about COVID-19 and why it is very important to know about COVID-19 and its psychological effects on us. And then to talk about common mental health problems, I think most of you had attended my forum last year in Faculty of Law, where I was physically there. And I had a lot of fun being with all of you during that time. And now I'm just like reminiscing being physically there. And furthermore, I guess moving on with the forum after Puan Anita and Ustaz Amin would be answering their questions, I would be talking about how do we recognize mental health issues in ourselves, in friends and families, and interventions for the students and also lecturers in facing this pandemic, which may have a long-lasting effect on us. So COVID-19 and us, let's get to know our uninvited guests. Bearing in mind that COVID-19 is unprecedented, we are part of, I guess, a history textbook, I guess, when we talk to our children or grandchildren later on. We were part of this pandemic and we are experiencing something that has never been experienced before by ourselves, our parents, or our grandparents. friends, perhaps. So COVID-19, on top of physical facts it also triggers mental health crisis. Why is that so? Because of COVID-19, we've been doing social distancing a lot, and this also leads to physical distancing. We are physically away from each other. We have movement control orders whereby our daily routines are disrupted. Businesses and schools are closed. So our children, our students, all of you and myself, we are very limited to see each other face to face. There are a lot of job losses out there due to the movement control orders. And COVID cases have reached 6.42 million on top of 300,000 deaths. So just hearing these numbers and statistics, it actually holds on a lot of anxiety in us because we feel very uncertain. Okay. So the psychological impact due to COVID-19, most importantly is post-traumatic stress symptoms. So when we talk about post-traumatic stress symptoms, we talk about disturbance in our sleep, in our day-to-day routine, in our functioning, our motivation. There's a lot of fear and uncertainties, and it leads to confusion and anger. And these are the studies that my slides, I mean, my presentation today are based on a lot of studies done in the West during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm still waiting for my colleagues to publish their papers on our local studies. It's coming out soon, but these are the ones that we got from the Lancet and other journals on what's happening now. So repeated exposure to media reports can also increase anxiety and stress. And some home of abusers can increase trauma and violence and leading to mental health crisis in those who are being abused in homes that are having violence. Most importantly, our loss of freedom due to movement control orders and social distancing leads to grief and feeling of loss, loneliness, boredom, and isolation. And not only it affects youth, children, it also affects adults, and most importantly, our elderly who are always uncertain and anxious about what's to come because of this COVID-19. So when we talk about grief, I guess I'm including this in my slide because it is rather important just to know what grief is all about, you know, because when we talk about grief, sometimes we only think that it's about people crying and thinking about death of someone. But grief can be as trivial as losing that freedom to go out, losing that freedom to meet our friends, and losing that routine of jogging in the morning or meeting our friends at classes, face-to-face classes. So what happens is that we start off with shock and denial. And how do we know we are in shock or denial? Is that we can have avoidance of doing the normal things. Maybe it's usually we are okay to go for classes face-to-face, but with online teaching and learning, we started avoiding these sessions and we feel confused. We don't know how to react. There's fear, there's numbness, and also blame on whoever brought this COVID to Malaysia and things like that. And it can move on to anger phase where there's frustration, anxiety, irritation, shame, and embarrassment. You know, we feel anxious, we cannot do things. I have patients coming into clinic and had to talk to me for half an hour about how he's not able to accept that he can't go to the gym. So as trivial as it may be, but it is something very important and it's affecting people. And then next phase can be depression and detachment, feel overwhelmed, helpless, lack of energy. There'll be dialogue and bargaining, trying to reach out, desire to tell a story and struggle to find meaning. Before we reach to acceptance, we explore options, we go to the new plan, accepting the new normal or the new normal, and then returning to a meaningful life. We start empowering ourselves, feeling secure with the new normal, improving our self-esteem, finding meaning in life that our previous value meaning might be different from now. So answering to your question, what are the common mental health problems in Malaysia? So we have the 2017 National Health and Mobility Survey. These are for adolescents, but these are quite recent statistics since you guys are youth, well, in between late adolescent and youth. So I thought that this might be quite important for you all to know that 1 in 5 of our adolescents are depressed, 2 in 5 are anxious, and 1 in 10 are stressed. Okay, so and you can see that between males and females, the numbers varies. For depressed, it is almost the same. For anxiety, girls have higher, and for stress, girls slightly higher than boys. Okay. And for depression in adults, most importantly, prevalence is 2.3% from the total number of 500,000 that they took it from. And this is very recent. It is National Health and Mobility Survey 2019, which is just last year. I got this from our UITM counselor. Thank you, Puan Rose. And you can see that the highest prevalence is in Putrajaya, followed by Negeri Sembilan, Perlis, Sabah, and Melaka. And according to socio-demographic details, between men and women, it is somewhat close by. And other than that, other than that is about according to income and stuff. So what I'm trying to share is that it is not rare. It is not rare to have mental health problems, and it is quite common. So I guess for the next round, we will talk about which one is subtle and which symptoms and signs are to be looked out for. This is about substances, substance abuse, penyalahgunaan dadah di Malaysia, and they found that this is 2019 that 300,000 orang dewasa di Malaysia pernah menggunakan dadah sekurang-kurangnya sekali seumur hidup, dan 100,000 orang dewasa di Malaysia masih menggunakan dadah. Okay. Dan majoriti penagih dadah bermula dengan ganja, mula menggunakan dadah antara usia 18 hingga 24 tahun. Why I included this substance abuse or misuse in this presentation is that because we found that during this COVID-19 pandemic, because the mental health issues are rising, stress are rising, anxieties are rising, a lot of substance users are also on the rise with the use of their substances. So it's important for us to have correct information so that we can try to prevent it.
Doctor, you have another 5 minutes.
Okay, I guess that's the answer to your first question. Okay, how do I unshare my...
Just click on the same button, I guess.
I can't.
The one that
Okay.
Dr. Jana, the stop share is on the top of your screen, on the orange button.
Okay, okay. There. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for such a great explanation and knowledge. I hope everyone are clear now about mental disorders. And if any of you are suffering for any symptoms regarding this issue, please do seek help. It's okay to seek help. You are a human being. I am a human being. We need each other to support each other. So please do seek help. Okay, so moving on to our next question for Puan Anita. In your point of view, is the new norm faced by students, this MCO, social distancing, and online learning due to COVID-19 would be the most contributors to the detriment of student mental well-being?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, congratulations to both the Faculty of Law and also the Faculty of Electrical Engineering. I'm very, very humbled with the invitation, and I'm very proud of you guys. This is such a very much needed topic to be discussing today. So thank you so much. And for me, I don't have any slides like Dr. Jannah. But so it will be a very informal chat with me, and I really hope that if you guys have any questions at all, please ask after during the next session, I believe. Okay. So as I think we all know, with this whole pandemic, it has really hit all of us, everyone, such a huge pandemic. Everyone is affected when we talk about, be it a mental health issue or even mental health condition. And to be very honest, I'm a person with a mental health condition, and we have our own NGO which is called Yasa. I think the moderator didn't introduce that part. So the Islamic Academy, I've had it for a very long time, so I helm that. That's the just to give you a little bit of introduction and also context. So that's my profit making entity, but I also have an NGO which is called MIASA, the Mental Illness Awareness and Support Association, and we are basically a peer group. We are people with lived experience, and so it's going to be hopefully a lot of insights shared by myself. And I always say that knowledge and insights have the power to transform. And so I hope that it can be very engaging, although it's online. And like Dr. Jana was saying, I'm an extrovert, so I crave face-to-face interaction. But we do what we can during this challenge and calamity that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has inflicted upon us. I just want to say this first before I actually answer the question. During the first couple of weeks of this MCO, I myself, I was really struggling because I don't want you guys to think that that I've gone through this journey with my condition, that it doesn't, that I don't struggle anymore. Because really, guys, what is it is so important that if you already have the condition, taking care of your mental health becomes an everyday job. And that is why this conversation is very important. So those of you that already have, for example, some kind of symptom or issues, please reach out for the help now, because you can't ignore it. The longer you wait, the worse it becomes. It's not like you ignore it and it goes away. That's not the case with mental health. So really during the first 2 weeks with MCO, my anxiety levels were really through the roof. Because really, if we talk about, like Dr. Jana, you were talking about social distancing. With this MCO, there's a lot of restrictions. They're really, despite a lot of solutions and coping mechanisms that a lot of people have shared, in actual fact and reality, there's not a lot of things that we can do when we are in this restricted movement control order, that we can short circuit these things that we're going through, for example, right? So I think that I felt very overwhelmed. I wasn't able to focus a lot. I couldn't work, and then I also came to the point that I felt that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, He was really angry with all of us, and we forgot Him along the way, while talking about myself. So it was a lot of, I think, a lot of reflection. And I think that, being a person with panic disorder, you tend to really think about the future a lot. And with so much uncertainties, it becomes very, very overwhelming. So I think it spiraled really badly. And what I learned from it all is just taking it one day at a time. I think this is very important for all of you to also understand. And I think being students, because I was a university student once, that you have to realize that this world that we're living in, it's never going to be linear, guys. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs. This is a learning process altogether. If you fail in any part of this journey, just don't give up, and try to get back on your feet. I think this is what is really important. And through failures, it also humbles you. I do feel that being a high achiever myself and going through a lot of achievements in life, of course, in Allah, is that is one of the greatest lessons that I've learned. Failures are important. If you keep on achieving success to success to success, when something bad happens, it's very difficult for you to get back up on your two feet. And so Resiliency is also very important, and resilience is like a muscle. So this is something that you really have to build, and this is something that I learned through my journey to recovery as well. And being students right now, when universities are closed and schools are closed, for example, I feel that a lot of students, we kind of lose that that meaning and purpose, because that support, that connection, that happiness, and it builds, self-esteem, confidence. So when all this is all closed, then we lose that basically that anchor in our life. And and then students become, you get very frustrated, and then you become very impatient. And I think all of this, please don't worry so much, because this is perfectly normal. I've been young once. And through experience, through age is how you're going to gain maturity and calmness. And so experience, really matters. So I think don't be so hard on yourself. You guys still have, yes, I remember you guys do have counselors in house. It's very important to reach out and talk to them. Although online definitely can't beat face to face, but at least it's something, right? And I think it's also very nice if the lecturers, if you guys could, maybe before the online classes start, maybe do a 10-15 minute session, how they're feeling, how they're feeling, if they require any help, that would really help. Every lesson, 10 to 15 minutes, try to invest that time, because that is really crucial, guys. I mean, please take it from me, because if your brain collapses, everything collapses. So this is very, very, very crucial as well. And I've heard and I've seen a lot of students, telling us that, they're one of the main challenges that they're facing right now is connectivity. Because there are people, of course, not only people from the city but also rural areas, and I think that's one of the great challenges right now. So we really need to power connectivity, so that people that are in the rural areas, they're not left behind. This is also crucial. I don't know how that is for people in the rural areas right now, students out there, but I think this is one of the things that we really need to highlight upon as well. And I think that with social distancing, although there's a lot of all these infographics going out there saying social distancing isn't emotional distancing, but really it can be as well, because I always have to give a balanced view, Dr. Jannah. But you can't hug the person you really want to hug, your friends and your family, or you're not able to. So there is going to be an emotional distancing somewhat as well. And I a lot of people have been telling me they really miss hugging their moms and their friends and their family. So I think that in itself has affected a lot of people as well. And social distancing for people that are in quarantine, I think that's a big thing. We've got a lot of patients that have recovered from COVID-19, contacting us saying that it was really traumatizing for them being in isolation. So let's be clear that it is not easy. It's challenging, but if we get the treatment and the help early, we can go through it better. That means the prognosis is going to be better. So my mantra is always, if you are going through something psychological, some emotional challenges, please reach out. Please don't be shy. Talk to someone you trust. I think this is so important. And for the other person, please listen. And when we talk about listening, listening is a skill. So when we listen, please listen to understand. Listen for emotions. Don't listen to advice. Don't listen to judge. I think these are, really common mistakes that people like to do. And communication is so important. It's very key. Let the other person talk to you, vent it out, whatever it may be. And I think that in itself would be such a great help. Either people going through mental condition, be it PTSD, anxiety, depression, people that are suicidal, people that are using self-harming as coping mechanisms, or even substance abuse and all that. I think what works best is always not to be quick to judge, and always come from that mindset that, we don't know everything, right? Everyone struggles, but the struggles can be of different kinds, and some people are just better at hiding it than others. But really, in actual fact, everyone, is struggling. So I think that if we, come with that mindset, and also from a place of, empathy, from a place of compassion, a lot of people are going to be able to reach out, are going to be able to get the help and support that they need. Because a lot of times right now, from our own experience being NIASA, a lot of complaints or a lot of feedbacks that we get is usually, people are very quick to judge. Our peers, people that are going through all this situation and struggles, feel very afraid. They feel very embarrassed to, assert their identity. And it takes, a lot of courage. I always say a lot of bravery to actually reach out for the help. And then what happens next is their greatest fear actually becomes true. Because, it might, they might be contemplating for a week to actually tell you, look, I'm struggling with a mental health issue or condition, or I'm suicidal. And, after we're going to judge, and we're going to say a lot of things. So I think it's very important to come from that place. We're not talking about, sometimes people get this impression where, Puan Inita, betul lah kalau dalam Islam ni bila kita cakap pasal bunuh diri ni masuk neraka contohnya. Again, we're not talking about the act of suicide. We're talking about people with intrusive suicidal thoughts, for example. We need to help them out, because again, what we need to understand is suicidal thoughts, behaviors. This is a symptom of the illness. So if we help and treat and support, and the person gets, all of that, then, the suicidal thoughts and behaviors will go away. So this is what we want to talk about. So, supporting the person, listening to the person. And so if we talk about this whole pandemic, again, answering the question, definitely it is, impacting, the mental health of everyone, not only just students. So I just want you to also understand that, things can change. Even if, for example, if you don't graduate now, if there's an extension, please don't blame yourselves. Please don't think it's your fault. If it's a failure, all your plans are going to be disrupted and all that, because at the end of the day, pandemik ni berlaku dengan izin Allah, dan Allah itu maha merancang. So we do the best we can, we plan, but at the end of the day, Allah plans as well. So most importantly, again, please talk to your lecturers, please talk to a trusted person, family, friends, and stay connected. If you need help, please seek professional help, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you, Puan Anita. That's such a great sharing session. So I would like to emphasize that just because you believe that no one else can help you find your inner peace doesn't mean you should do it alone. We don't expect you to drastically change. Just take one thing at one time. What matters is the progress of it. So moving on to my third question to Ustaz Muhammad Amin. Ustaz, normally people would relate mental health issues with religious beliefs, Islamic perspective especially. Well, about this penghayatan ibadah and also mental well-being, is it actually a prevention or solution?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, ala alihi washabihi wa man tabi'ahu wa man nasara wa wala. Here is a dual language discussion, right? So I prefer to share this evening with Malay languages. Okay. So itu mengenai tentang kesihatan mental. Jadi maknanya adakah penghayatan ibadah itu sendiri sebagai solution ataupun dia sebagai satu, maksudnya sebagai prevention, kan? So sebelum saya jawab benda ni, saya nak kongsikan dulu apakah sumbangan penghayatan ibadah dalam diri kita manusia. Kita kongsikan itu dulu. Okay, 3 perkara yang penting dalam penghayatan ibadah. Apabila kita sebut ibadah ada bentuk rutin. Ada orang perform, maknanya dia punya ibadah hanya sebagai rutin. Dan ada juga orang yang memang menghayati ibadah. Sebenarnya dia buat dengan secara yang terbaik dan semaksimal yang mungkin dia buat. So, bila kita bicara mengenai penghayatan ibadah, kita bicara mengenai orang yang jenis kedua. Bukan yang pertama, bukan perform dia, bukan just maknanya buat sembahyang dan that's it. Maknanya kita bicara dengan orang yang betul-betul menghayati ibadah. So, siapa yang menghayati ibadah, 3 perkara yang penting yang akan maknanya terbentuk dalam diri dia. Yang pertama dia adalah focus of life dia, maknanya fokus kehidupan dia. Fokus kehidupan dia sangat penting sebenarnya. Sebenarnya dalam sembahyang contohnya kita ada membaca doa iftitah. Sunat dia, inna solati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillah. Sungguhnya aku, hidup aku, mati aku hanya untuk Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Maksudnya penghayatan ibadah ni pertama dia betulkan fokus kita, yang kita ni daripada mana dan hendak ke mana. Kita ni sebenarnya semua kita, saya, Dr. Jana, kan, Puan Anita dan siapa-siapa juga yang menonton kita pada petang berbahagia ni, kita dari Allah Subhanahu wa taala dan pulang kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Kalau ikut ulama sirah kan, sedang penonton sekalian kan, anak Adam ni baru berada di muka bumi ini lebih kurang 10,000 tahun. Dari Adam sampai Nabi Isa 8,000 tahun, Isa ke kita baru 2,000 tahun. Saya bercakap bukan saja di atas dasar ulama sirah kita, tapi kajian ekologi, penempatan tertua manusia di dunia adalah di Jericho. Jericho adalah the oldest and lowest city in the world. Kita boleh search yang Jericho. Jericho berada di Palestin, the oldest and lowest city in the world, baru 10,000 tahun. Di mana kalau kita tengok, kita ganding ulama sirah punya perbincangan dan ahli ekologi, maknanya ada satu correlation, maksudnya dalam manusia. So daripada Nabi Adam AS sampai kita baru 10,000 tahun. Okay. Nabi Adam AS umur dia panjang. Bermula manusia umur pendek ni masuk tak sampai 1,000 tahun, baru bermula selepas zaman Nabi Nuh AS. Nabi Nuh AS ni dengan Nabi Adam beza 1,600 tahun. Jadi mana kalau 1,600 tahun, mana 6,400 tahun sebelum Masihi. 6,400 tahun sebelum Masihi, orang umur dah tak panjang lah. 200 tahun, 300 tahun. Sampai pada umat Muhammad ni kita, kata Nabi SAW, baina sitin wa sab'in, antara 60 ke 70. Maksudnya kita ni hanya melapisi generasi sebenarnya. Kita ada pandemik pada hari ini. Orang dulu juga pernah ada pandemik, 100 tahun dulu. Setiap 100 tahun ada dia pandemik kan. Zaman Rasul, zaman sahabat dulu pernah ada wabak ta'un amwas dipanggil, lebih 30,000 orang. Sahabat saja tau, belum orang lain yang yang meninggal dekat sekitar Palestin di Amwas. Saya dah pernah pergi makam dia. Makam dia dekat dekat antara Jerusalem dan Tel Aviv, ada satu nama Amwas. Di situ dimakamkan. Ada 10,000 sahabat kat situ dan lagi 20,000 tu orang tabi'in, orang muslim kat situ. 30,000 orang semuanya. Maknanya mereka juga kena pandemik juga macam kita ni. Dan kita sebenarnya melapisi sahaja. Dan kita daripada Allah dan kita akan pergi kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala, akan pulang kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Jadi penghayatan ibadah yang pertamanya dia betulkan fokus kita. Kalau tak kerana COVID pun orang mati juga. Meninggal sebab accident lah kan. Meninggal sebab apa-apa pun sebab lah. Kalau kita selamat dari pandemik kali ini, kita tak tahu kan mana ada orang kena kecil manis, sakit jantung dan sebagainya kan. Sama juga. Cuma dia mungkin lebih awal daripada kita. Kita pun maknanya kita tak tahu. Jadi fokus kita. Dan bila kita faham fokus hidup kita, kita akan lebih tenang lah. Akhirnya kita akan pulang kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Yang penting adalah kita punya persediaan. Itu pertama, penghayatan ibadah. Yang keduanya, ibadah ni dia membentuk kita bahasa dalaman. Penghayatan ibadah dia membentuk monolog dalaman kita. Orang nak kuat, orang nak hebat, semuanya adalah orang kuat dan orang hebat dalam dunia, dia ada monolog yang hebat kat dalam. Ada monolog yang hebat kat dalam. Maksudnya monolog ni dibentuk dalam, dan Islam ni dia bentuk monolog dalaman kita. Dia bentuk maknanya inner thought kita maknanya dalaman kita ni sebut. Jadi macam Allah hadir contohnya kan. Satu perkataan yang sangat bagus daripada Salahuddin Al-Ayyubi. Salahuddin Al-Ayyubi dapat menawan kembali Baitul Maqdis pada tahun 1187 Masihi. Kan? Ketika Salahuddin Al-Ayyubi ditanya mengenai dia tu, kenapa dia boleh begitu bersemangat? Adakah kau tak ada masalah? Ya, aku tu tak ada masalah, kata dia. Tapi setiap kali ada masalah, apa dia kata? La taqul ya Rab indi mushkilah. Jangan kamu kata ya Allah aku ada masalah. Tapi katakanlah ya mushkilah indi Rab. Katakanlah wahai masalah aku ada Tuhan. Terbalikkan perkataan itu juga dah jadi berbeza jiwa kita, emosi kita berbeza. Kalau kita kata ya Allah, kalau masalah Covid apa semua ya Allah tolong, dah tenang dah. Tapi kalau ya Covid, ingat aku ada Tuhan. Dia dah lain dah. Kan? Maknanya bahasa dalaman tukar sikit jadi lain dah. Maknanya Islam ni adalah satu agama yang bentuk bahasa dalaman yang kuat. So, maksudnya, ya sekarang semua orang panik sebab kita hidup yang sekarang ni, saya tak rasa tak ramai lah, saya rasa mungkin lah ada mungkin seorang dua lah kan yang pernah hidup pandemik 100 tahun lepas. Saya rasa kita punya generasi ni tak ada kot yang sempat 100 tahun lepas dia pandemik kan. Semua memang panik, semua panik, tak ada satu contoh. Macam mana nak buat, tak ada satu contoh tau. Semua akan tertanya-tanya apa akan jadi, semua kita semua akan tertanya. Tapi beza kita betulkan bahasa dalaman, kita akan jadi kuat. Kan? Ya Allah, mana ini ujian daripada-Mu ya Allah kan. Tapi selagi mana aku hidup, rezeki takkan putus. Kan? Selagi makan aku hidup, makan takkan putus. Itu selagi mana aku hidup. Kan? Malaikat rezeki akan terus menyampaikan rezeki pada kita. So maknanya bahasa-bahasa dalaman ni akan menguatkan kita. Dan kita hendaklah bentuk banyak bahasa dalaman yang hebat-hebat. Sebab orang yang hebat, dia ada monolog yang hebat dalam badan dia, dalam diri dia tu. Orang kalau lemah semangat, sebelum pergi dia akan lemah semangat dah. Tak boleh ni, mana boleh, tak boleh dah, tak boleh. Maknanya monolog dalaman tu melemahkan semangat dia. Tapi Islam, penghayatan ibadah dikuatkan bahasa dalaman. Okay, dan yang ketiganya, okay, orang yang penghayatan ibadah, yang ketiganya. Okay. Saya nak cerita mengenai kemanusiaan. Kalau ikut Imam Ghazali, kan, Dr. Jannah mahir dalam bab ni, kan, semestinya kita maknanya dia boleh tambahkan lagi kupasan apa yang saya kongsikan, puan Anita pun sama, juga doktor-doktor yang depan yang di belakang tabir kita. Okey, manusia ni dia ada 3 preference dia. Maknanya kita hidup memang 3 orientasi, tapi apa preference kita, apa kebiasaan kita pilih. Ada orang jenis dia adalah orientasi dia adalah future oriented. Dia jenis orang yang naturally inborn, lahir-lahir, dia boleh pandang, boleh merancang masa depan. Ada orang yang jenis macam ini, dia future oriented, orientasi dia hidup dengan benda masa depan. Bagi dia satu benda, dia boleh planning, okey jadi macam ini. Itu kelebihan dia. Tapi kelemahan orang yang future oriented, dia mudah jatuh anxiety. Dia mudah sebab dia fikir ke depan, jadi benda orang tak fikir, dia boleh fikir, dia akan jatuh anxiety. Okey. Preference yang kedua, ada orang hidup dalam past oriented. Past oriented ni orientasi masa lepas. Orang past oriented ni, kelebihan dia bagus sangat pada perkara-perkara berkaitan inovatif. Inovatif maknanya penambahbaikan. So dia ada idea sikit je, dapat idea sikit, dia boleh penambahbaikan. Orang yang past oriented, sangat bagus. Kelemahan dia pula, dia grounded dengan benda lepas. So kalau dia kata dia sedih dia panjang, dia akan teringat, kalau marah panjang. Orang depression biasanya ada dekat orang yang preference dia past oriented. Okey? Dan ada orang yang orientasi dia present oriented. Present oriented ni kelebihan dia kreatif. Kreatif ni beza dengan inovatif. Kreatif dia from zero. Tak ada apa-apa contoh model, dia boleh bina, cipta satu benda tu. Kelemahan orang present oriented pula, dia bipolar, mood swing. Dia boleh mood swing. Sebab dia sekarang present oriented, dia boleh gembira macam ni, tiba-tiba boleh tak ya? Dia boleh sedih tiba-tiba gembira. Itu kelemahan dia. So penghayatan ibadah sebenarnya, dan setiap kita tak sama tau. Setiap kita sama. Preference kita Allah jadikan tak sama. Ada orang memang future oriented. Saya rasa ya, daripada Puan Anita. Jadi Puan Anita tu jenis orangnya future oriented. Maksudnya dia nampak masa depan tau. Okey, maknanya orang yang macam ni merancang sangat bagus kan. Tapi maknanya saya rasa minta maaf. Okay. Sebab dia boleh cerita benda apa nak buat. Sangat bagus kan. Itu maksudnya ada orang preference dia Allah jadikan dia future oriented. Ada orang adalah past oriented, ada orang present oriented. Penghayatan ibadah, Allah kalau kita betul-betul ibadah, sebenarnya Allah suruh kita mengimbangkan kita punya preference ni. Kalau kita terlalu future sangat, maknanya imbangkan juga sebagai orang present, imbangkan juga sebagai orang past. Kalau kita terlalu past, imbangkan dengan present. Kalau kita terlalu present, imbangkan juga antara past dan juga apa namanya future. Sebab tu kalau kita tengok sembahyang, contoh sembahyang, sembahyang kita rasa macam future. Sembahyang memang kerana Allah, untuk ada orang kadang untuk pahala syurga kan. Tapi suruh presentnya, disuruh kita pegang diri. Allahu Akbar. Kita pegang diri tau. Hey, kau kat sini sekarang ni. Allah pegang lutut kita. Pegang muka bumi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pegang diri ni. Maknanya sekarang ni. Maknanya disulamkan kita, preference kita tu biar imbang. Taklah kalau kita terlalu future sangat, ataupun terlalu past sangat, atau terlalu present sangat. Ini maknanya penghayatan ibadah membentuk manusia seimbang dari sudut orientasi. Itu yang menariknya kalau kita tengok kenapa disuruh kita ikhlas, ibadah apa semua. Tapi saya cerita pasal orang yang menghayati ibadah lah. Kita tak cerita mengenai orang yang perform ibadah itu sebagai rutin. Pukul 4 suku, 4:30 solat asar, 4 suku tak zuhur lagi. Kita tak cerita orang jenis macam tu kan. Kita cerita orang yang menghayati ibadah. Ada kadang-kadang kan doktor kan, puan dan kita kadang-kadang azan, hayya ala solat, Allah, baru zuhur dan asar. Cepat betul lah. Kita tak cerita orang jenis macam ni. Kita cerita orang yang menghayati ibadah. Saya hayati ibadah, 3 benda tu sebenarnya dibentuk. Kita punya fokus kita, mana kita Allah, pulang kepada Allah dan pulang kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Bahasa dalaman kita, sembahyang tu bercakap-cakap bahasa dalaman. Kita memang menyerahkan diri kepada Allah. Jadi apabila maknanya benda tu dibentuk, maka kita akan kuat dan juga mengimbangkan kita punya orientasi future, present dan juga past. Okey. Balik pada soalan, adakah penghayatan ibadah tu adalah prevention ataupun solution? Sebenarnya kedua-dua sekali. Okay? Dia bukan semata-mata binary question. Maknanya ini adalah solution ke prevention? Tak, bukan binary question. Dia kedua-dua sekali. Dia boleh jadi prevention. Contoh macam katakan orang yang fokus dia kuat, dia nampak fokus dia pulang pada Allah. Dia tak akan buat benda pelik-pelik. Kan? Kalau dia sedih, dia tak akan biarkan diri dia sedih. Dia akan cari ubat untuk kesedihan dia. Kan? Kalau dia maknanya mungkin rungsing anxiety, dia cari di ubat untuk anxiety dia. Kalau dia jenis maknanya bipolar atau mood swing, dia mencari ubat macam mana untuk mengubat diri dia. Maksudnya prevention, dia tak biarkan diri macam itu. Begitu juga bahasa dalaman dia akan lebih berlapang dada, emosi dia begitu matang, dia ada dipanggil kematangan emosi ataupun emotional intelligence. Dia faham bila masa nak memaparkan marah, bila masa nak memaparkan ketegasan, bila masa nak memaparkan pujukan, dia faham bila masa nak buat benda-benda tu. Emotional intelligence dia cukup tinggi, dan juga dia adalah orang yang bersulaman secara seimbang antara future, present dan past. Kalau orang yang tak ada past langsung, dia susah nak ingat jasa mak ayah dia sebab tak ada past. Orang jadi macam ini, dia fikir ke depan aja kan. Jadi mana dia diseimbangkan benda tu sebagai prevention. Okay? Dan juga solution. Contoh macam pandemik ni. Tak ada siapa yang dalam dunia yang nak tiba-tiba berada dalam keadaan pandemik kita sekarang ni kan. So ketika begini, ramai orang kadang-kadang kalau dia penghayatan ibadah, dia akan lebih tenang sebab dia fokus dia pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Kemudian dia jadi orang yang bahasa dalam kuat, tak apa, Allah takkan sia-siakan aku. Maknanya bahasa dalaman dia kuat, dan juga maknanya dia orang yang okey, maknanya tak terlalu future, maknanya future dan orientasi persulaman, taklah macam duduk anxiety kan. Saya banyak jumpa doktor
Mungkin Ustaz ada masalah lain.
Power connectivity. Challenges doing things virtually.
Okay, so
Sorry for the inconvenience. We are trying to contact the Ustad again. So
Oh, Ustad disconnected.
yeah, it's Ustad is disconnected.
I thought it was me.
Okay.
Okay, dah. Ustad dah ada. Kita teruskan.
okay. Tak ada 2 minit lagi.
Ada 2 minit lagi. So, jadi sidang penonton yang saya sayangi sekalian kan. Sebab itu dalam bab ibadah
2 minit.
ni kita disuruh untuk maknanya menghayati ibadah, bukan sekadar kita perform ibadah kita, tapi kita menghayati ibadah. Sebab orang yang menghayati ibadah tu dia akan dapat 3 perkara dia. Dia akan dapat kelebihan dia akan dapat tahu fokus hidup dia untuk apa kan? Kemudian dia akan bahasa dalaman dia sangat kuat, dan yang ketiganya iaitu dia berada dalam preference yang seimbang antara future, present dan juga past. Preference yang seimbang. Taklah satu preference saja yang dia ada, dan mungkin bermasalah kalau kita hanya fokus pada satu preference dalam kehidupan kita. Sebab itu ibadah banyak, ada ibadah khusus, ada ibadah umum. Ibadah khusus ni yang ada ritual dia, sembahyang, puasa, zakat, haji kan. Ibadah umum apa-apa pun ibadah. Contoh ketika kita majlis ilmu begini, kalau kita menghayati ibadah ni, ini sebagai majlis ilmu, pahala pun boleh, kita faham bahawa kita Allah suruh untuk ilmu, membentuk bahasa dalaman, dan juga maknanya merealistikkan kita bagi orang-orang yang terlalu prefer future ataupun past. Allah.
Okay. Terima kasih Ustaz. Jadi maksudnya walau susah macam mana sekalipun, cubalah try to look at the bright side of the world.
Okay. Dan sebenarnya balik kepada cari Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala kan. Okay. Mungkin saya tambah sikit takrifan cari Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala ni. Kita balik pada kalimah la ilaha illallah kita. Orang Melayu kita terjemah la ilaha illallah, tiada ilaha Tuhan illallah melainkan Allah. Tapi ilah, kata ilah tu 99 nama Allah dalam rantaian Asmaul Husna, itulah ilah. La ilaha illallah maksud tiada memberi rezeki melainkan Allah, tiada menyelamatkan melainkan Allah, tiada membantu melainkan Allah, tiada memberi kesembuhan melainkan Allah, tiada segala-gala melainkan Allah.
Okay. Terima kasih Ustaz. So we'll proceed to the next round of today's forum, which this round I'll be posing your question to our panel. So the first question, I believe this is for Dr. Jannah. Okay, how to differentiate between normal stress and mental illness?
How to differentiate normal stress and mental illness. Okay, so actually I will be talking more about this when we go to the next round, because that is somehow the second question for me. But in a nutshell, when our stress is disturbing our day-to-day activities, we cannot function as usual. We cannot give any outcome from our work, being a student or being a worker, lecturer, any occupation or job that you are holding, then you are not able to function in your roles properly. Then you might need help and you might need to talk to someone. Because being human ourselves, there is no time, a minute or a second in our life that we are stress-free. There is usually always some sort of stress that we have in our life. And normal stress, or we call it healthy stress, actually motivates us to achieve something. But if this stress is too long or too high expectation, then it can make us burn out, or we call it chronic stress. The word chronic is because the duration is longer. Okay. Or other instances, we have any events or life events, such as we lost someone, we are sick with some illnesses, any tests or distress that we go through shockingly that we did not anticipate, things like that can cause somewhat stress that is not the normal day-to-day stress. So that kind of situation, we would need more support. Okay, so COVID-19 pandemic, like Puan Anita said, everyone is affected by it psychologically, It's not like something that you can just drive through, like you drive through McDonald's and get, finally a burger. It's not as simple as that. Everybody will get affected. Even myself, okay? As normal human being, we all get affected.
All right, thank you, Dr. Jana. So proceed to our next question. This is for Ustad. Mental illness are due to chemical imbalance in brain. It's undeniable to our prayers and very helpful to lessen the pain. Is it possible to balance it just by relying on prayers without taking any medicine?
Okay, this question for me.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sebenarnya saya mengasaskan kursus forensik insan. Forensik insan ni kita cerita mengenai teori kejiwaan Imam Ghazali, mental dan sebagainya kan. Jadi in term of perlu makan ubat, kena rujuk Dr. Janah lah. Sebenarnya soalan tu soalan tu doktor lagi memahami kenapa perlunya. Nanti betul-betul doktor tambah kenapa perlunya orang tu makan ubat dan kenapa pentingnya kalau nak makan ubat kan. Okay, so kadang-kadang manusia tak sama. Ada orang dia hanya dengan nasihat-nasihat, dengan dia kita panggil sokol macam kita bertafakur kan. Tafakur tu kita jaga kita punya bahasa dalaman, kita tenangkan kita. Ada orang dengan breathing teknik dia boleh cool down. Ada orang tak boleh. Dia perlu dibantu dengan benda-benda makanan. So maksudnya saya tak nafikan langsung benda ubat tu juga benda yang penting untuk cool downkan kita punya keadaan mental sebab orang tak sama kan. Jadi mungkin Dr. Jana boleh tambahkan di sudut kenapa perlunya ubat tu sebab ada orang ada skeptikal sikit, makan ubat derap tak nak kan. Nanti mungkin boleh Dr. Jana boleh kongsikan mana selepas ni sambung soalan ni maksudnya. Sebenarnya setengah-setengah orang boleh release dengan benda-benda demikian. Setengah orang tak boleh. So jadi Abis sebut dalam hadis pun Nabi SAW sebut tadawaw, berubatlah kamu. Berubat tu bukan hanya semata-mata satu cara. Ada orang jodoh ubatnya dengan ini. Ada orang kadang-kadang dengan makan makanan herba boleh baik. Ada orang tak boleh baik. Ada orang dengan pil doktor. Ada orang pil doktor pun tak sesuai dengan dia dengan benda-benda lain mana lebih sesuai serasi dengan dia. So, maksudnya tadawaw Nabi sebut berubatlah kamu. Carilah jalan berubat walau macam mana cara pun maksudnya selagi mana tidak melanggar syarat lah selagi mana tidak syarat maksudnya berubatlah Semoga kita boleh minta Dr. Jannah kongsikan sikit saya buat jadi moderator pula. Maksudnya kongsikan sikit. Orang skeptikal.
Okay.
Datang nanti kosak buat pindang hapus tak nak kan. Apa pentingnya mungkin Dr. Jannah boleh kongsikan.
Okay, saya ni 1 minit je. Moderator dah macam malam kan. Okay. Terima kasih Ustaz Amin. Ya, saya setuju dengan Ustaz Amin. Sebenarnya kalau dalam segi psychiatry, kita ada 4 modality untuk treatment lah, untuk rawatan. Okay, dan 4 komponen ni is actually medication, second is psychological intervention atau psychological strategy, nombor 3 is social support, nombor 4 is spiritual. Tak semestinya semua orang yang datang ke psychiatry klinik atau jumpa kaunselor wajib makan ubat. Sebab tu kita kena buat assessment. Kalau macam assessment boleh dibuat dengan jumpa kaunselor atau ke MIASA punya headquarters atau doktor di klinik biasa, DGP kan, dia buat assessment. Dan kalau kita rasa penyakit masalah mental tu macam depression atau anxiety atau apa-apa masalah lain, doktor dapati it's like severe atau moderate, memerlukan ubat sementara atau long term, kita akan discuss dengan patient. Tapi bukan kewajipan tengok kepada tahap-tahap dia. Psychological support iaitu dengan counselor, berjumpa psychologist is more talking therapy, which is very important and usually semua orang akan lalui talking therapy. Social therapy, psychosocial therapy, social support is where kita bring in the family members that diorang tak prejudice kepada the patient, kita engage dengan tempat kerja supaya mereka memahami keadaan pesakit, and also kita help macam tu, ya. And then yang keempat, spiritual therapy, kita mementingkan spirituality patient tu. Kita jumpa patient agama dan bangsa. So kita nak pesakit-pesakit kita connect to what's important in their life, macam the divine, ya, the creator, and macam yang Ustaz Amin cakap lah, being in the present moment, also having meaning in life. Just having purpose and meaning in life can really help dalam menangani masalah mental. So all four components are very important. It's not just ubat on its own. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ustad and Dr. Jannah. So the next question is also for Dr. Jannah. With lots of assignment, I found that Luvox doesn't work on me anymore. What should I do?
Dr. Jannah, I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
I am. Thank you, Panita. Okay, so Luvox is sejenis ubat untuk kemurungan or depression. Kita ada pelbagai jenis ubat untuk depression and Luvox is one of it. Jika student atau orang yang bertanya itu mengambil fluvoxamine, nama ubat tu and find it not to be helpful, then I would suggest and advise for him to discuss this with his doctor. That is the doctor or the therapist yang prescribe the medication. Because for him to get the ubat, it needs a doctor to actually prescribe it lah for him kan. So discuss with your doctor. I guess just be open about it that the medication is not helpful. Is there any other alternatives or any other methods that he can take to improve the difficulty that he's going through? Okay, jangan takutlah untuk just be open about it because ubat untuk kemurungan ni kita ada banyak jenis dan it's helpful because bila kita dah stress lama, kita murung atau ada anxiety or whatever problems, there is imbalance in the chemicals in the brain, in our saraf. So bila ada imbalance, ada kemarau saraf, kemarau chemical dalam saraf kita, whatever kemarau kita kena bajakan lah. So ubat ni insyaAllah dengan izin Allah, the idea is untuk bajakan
For Puan Anita, how do you seek help during MCO?
Okay, thank you very much. During MCO, really, there are a lot of places that you can seek help. I know that a lot of people have been, complaining that their appointments with the psychiatrist have been cancelled and have been postponed and all that. But really, that's also a risk mitigation. But really, NGOs on the ground, this is where the power of NGOs or strength of NGOs comes in. So there are about 20 plus agencies currently under CPRC hotline. So Miasa is one of them, and we are currently with our other friends, other NGO friends, we're doing services online. So, for example, like Miasa during this MCO, although we are all working from home, you can actually call us, WhatsApp us, message us, and we are able to provide services such as therapy online. Be it CBT, anything. We can do assessment, we can do spiritual therapy, talk therapy, counseling, peer support. All of that is actually available online. Although, some people don't prefer doing it online and would rather have face to face, which probably, right now at Miasa, it's like mountaining right now with the cases that we have that's waiting for us to really open our physical center. But really, there is a lot of help in the community, especially if we're here, right smack in, the city center. There's a lot of help. Clinic kesihatan. I mean, the health clinics, of course, they're really swarmed right now, especially with, COVID cases and all that. But Mentari is also closed right now. Tapi you can still go to the emergency department. There is day call, there's night call, and there's NGOs on the ground all over. And I think even the infographics, the helplines, a lot of people have been sharing it over and over again. If you don't know where else to seek for the help and the numbers, please go to KKM or MOH's website. It's all there, all the information really is there available. So help is available really at a click of a button right now.
Dr. Jana, can
Yeah.
I ask you a question? No, okay. Banyak orang skeptical about the maknanya ubat kan. So doktor kata tadi balance chemical in our brain. Adakah konsep yang sama dengan orang yang kurang contoh orang kecil manis, jadi kurang dalam badan dia insulin tu, mana kita tambahkan insulin. So maknanya dopamin apa kat otak tu kurang, so tambahkan, apakah konsep yang sama gitu?
Ya, Ustaz Amin, betul. Saya dari tadi impress dengan Ustaz Amin sebab Ustaz Amin macam Ustaz / psychologist / medical doctor. So, Masya Allah. Anyhow, yes, betul. So, mental illnesses sebab dia sebenarnya konsep dia sama dengan physical illnesses macam diabetes, hypertension, stroke, sakit jantung, ya, is the same. Cuma masalah dengan mental disorders atau mental illness is dia tak tunjuk apa-apa sakit physically. So people think diorang mengada, malas, saja buat-buat and things like that. Tapi konsep dalam badan tu perubahan hormon, chemical, neurotransmitters is actually lebih kurang, cuma lokasi-lokasi yang berbeza dan apa tu saraf atau sistem dalam badan yang berbeza. Diabetes diabetes involve pancreas, tapi depression involve limbic system. Diabetes involve insulin, tapi depression involves serotonin, noradrenaline dengan dopamin. So, yalah, subhanallah ni semua kuasa Allah lah. Little things yang berubah can affect us as individual differently. So yes, to answer your question Ustaz Amin, actually mental illness dan physical illness ni sebenarnya sama dia punya weightage dia. Cuma orang lebihkan physical illness sebab nampak. Bila diabetes tak terkawal, kaki busuk, luka busuk. Tapi mental illness orang tak nampak physically komplikasi tu.
Tapi Dr. Jana, mungkin saya boleh tambah sikit dekat situ. I think it's also very important for people to understand that, chemical imbalances, yes, but, addressing the underlying issues is what is core. Because if not, like you were, when we talk about medication, walaupun Dr. Jana dah explain tadi, biopsychosocial spiritual punya holistic approach to it all, but you cannot just, for example, take medication but not address the underlying issues. So, and there are some people, some peers, people with mental health condition that don't need medication, and can still go through their recovery process well and fine. So I think these are some of the things that we really need to also understand. So the holistic approach of it is very, very important lifestyle, taking care of your mental health, self-care, exercising, sleeping well, eating well, all the nutrients, doing things that you like, doing things that are meaningful, purposeful for you. So coping mechanisms you have to learn. So there's so many things so it's not just one component. And I just wanted to touch a bit on the tadi religion ke prayer part of it. For a lot of people that we've seen through our own experience, through our my own experience, religion is a key component to recovery. It doesn't matter whatever religion you are. You're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, whatever it may be. But from what I've seen and through my own experience, religion is what holds us together. And especially if you are in deep acute crisis where, again, if we go to, the extreme end of suicide where, only in the faith, and iman, and grounded in that faith and iman in Allah, this is where it will hinder that unimaginable act of suicide. And of course, having the support from your loved ones. So again, addressing the underlying issues is really core to it, because if not, there's so much stigma attached to mental illness that, like Dr. Jana, you were saying about physical illness, as compared to mental health condition, kan sebab with the naked eye we're not going to be able to see the struggle, the pain of a person with mental health condition. So that is why, the stigma attached to it is usually very, very dahsyat lah kalau kita cakap. I mean it's a global thing, not only here in Malaysia but across the globe. And that is why conversations like today is very important to hopefully reduce the stigma, tapi most importantly to translate not only the change of perception and understanding, but translate it to change of behavior and action. This is crucial.
Puan Anita, boleh saya tanya Puan Anita?
Boleh, silakan Ustaz.
So saya tertarik dengan apa yang Puan sebut tadi, maknanya mengenai ada causes kan juga selain daripada physical punya reaction, chemical dan sebagainya.
Betul.
Bagi pengalaman Puan Anita, pernah tak berhadapan ataupun jumpa orang sekeliling dan membantu orang sekeliling yang sihir ataupun ain yang menyebabkan imbalance pada emosional ni, yang kalau kita pergi mungkin check semua hormon kita punya semua okey, tapi dia tetap tak stabil daripada sudut itu.
Betul, kita
kongsi
so kalau kepada mereka yang tidak tahu, Miasa ni kita punya solution yang kita provide kepada public is a holistic solution. Jadi bukan sahaja daripada medical perspective tapi of spirituality as well. So Miasa ni kita punya worldview is an Islamic worldview, and Islam adalah untuk semua. A lot of non-Muslims come to Miasa, they come for support. Tetapi alhamdulillah Ustaz Amin, kita ada juga rakan-rakan seperjuangan kami, disebabkan oleh Miasa ni saya ada Qaisar Darussalam, jadi kita ada kelas-kelas agama kan. Jadi apabila kami introduce this concept, mereka masuk ke kelas agama juga, walaupun belum ada lagi yang masuk Islam, tapi at least they get to learn about it. Jadi apa yang kami lihat selama pengalaman kami Ustaz, kita ada 3 jenis individu. Satu yang akan datang, they have 100% of a mental health condition. Keduanya, they have 100% of gangguan jin dan syaitan. Dan ketiga, dia ada kombinasi kedua-duanya. Dan apabila kita bercakap tentang gangguan jin dan syaitan ni, dia ada sihir dan juga dia ada straightforward gangguan disebabkan oleh they're in a very dark place kan. Jadi the gangguan tu mudah untuk datang. Dan ketiganya adalah saka. Ini yang kita nampak. Tetapi peratusan dia kecil sebenarnya Ustaz. Dan disebabkan oleh itu, perawatan Islam, kita membuat perubatan ruqyah di Miasa. Kita ustaz kami di Miasa ni bukan sahaja ustaz dan perawat, tetapi mereka very well versed in mental health, dan bukan semua para asatizah kita, ustazah di luar sana yang ada kepakaran ni Ustaz Amin. Sebab dia tak boleh, you cannot have an ustaz to treat a person with a mental health condition yang ada sihir ataupun gangguan jin dan syaitan tanpa mempunyai ilmu tentang kesihatan mental. Kalau tak, nanti semua dia akan cakap sihir, semua dia akan cakap saka dan sebagainya. Jadi memang betul, bila benda tu dia ada gangguan jin dan syaitan, memang dia punya mental state pun akan dia boleh vice versa, disebabkan oleh gangguan mental state dia low ataupun mental state dia low menyebabkan jin dan syaitan tu mudah masuk. And I always say this, where jin dengan syaitan tu dia tunggu je dekat tepi Ustaz. Dia nampak aja dia ada crack, dia akan masuk. Kerana saya adalah bukti tu Ustaz. Saya memang ada gangguan jin dan syaitan semasa saya bertarung dengan penyakit mental 7 tahun yang lalu Ustaz. Jadi saya memang pergi rawatan banyak tempat Ustaz. Alhamdulillah saya memang kedua-dua arwah Tok Guru Haruddin dan juga yang baru ni Tok Guru Ismail Kamus, Ustaz Ismail Kamus, dua-dua merawat saya pada waktu itu. Dan sebab tu bagi saya boleh katakan saya ni adalah bukti Ustaz Amin bahawa kalimah la haula wala quwata illa billah itu adalah benar. Saya buktinya. There is no might, there is no power without Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, dan saya dah pernah rasa tu Ustaz. Saya dalam 30 lebih tahun umur saya hidup dekat dunia ni Ustaz, apabila saya mendapat penyakit mental, diuji dengan penyakit mental ini pertama kali saya menyerahkan 100%, 100% tawakal kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala apabila terduduk, terlentang dan sudah tidak dapat lagi berfungsi Ustaz.
Okey, Dr. Jannah, sorry.
Ustaz yang jadi moderator hari ini.
Saya seronok untuk kongsikan. Okey, Dr. Jannah. Boleh, ada tak pengalaman Dr. Jannah, patient yang dicek hormon semua stabil, tapi ada mental illness, boleh kita, kalau bahasa media kita panggil X-file kan? X-file maksudnya macam okey, hormon okey, semua okey, tapi kenapa dopamin kau okey, serotonin semua okey, tapi pernah tak ada patient macam gini, ataupun boleh komen sikit?
Ustaz, mungkin ni last soalan daripada Ustaz, sebab lagi soalan daripada partisipan.
Okey.
Saya jawab very short. I promise. Macam Puan Anita cakap tadi, mental illness dia multifactorial. Dia bukan satu je. Dia bukan hormon atau chemical sahaja. Dia multifactorial. Kita tak boleh cari satu cause of mental illness. Okay. Number 2, kita tak hantar levels untuk dopamin, serotonin atau all these chemicals in our brain. Kita tak ada ujian dekat Malaysia yang boleh.
Okay.
Okay. macam diabetes semua tu kita check gula kan macam tu. Tapi untuk masalah mental kita tak ada blood punya test yang kita boleh check. Okay, sebab tu kita doctors atau counselor, psychologist atau NGO macam Puan Anita cerita, kita assess melalui questionnaire dan bercerita, listen to the problems. So problem-problem yang menyebabkan masalah mental dari segi biologi adalah perubahan dalam badan, dari segi psikologi adalah trauma atau apa-apa ujian musibah yang dilalui. So bukanlah nak katakan orang ada mental illness ni macam diorang adalah OKU ke apa. Saya pun boleh dapat depression. Kalau let's say satu hari datang musibah dan I can, so macam Puan Anita cakap tadi, ada coping skill ya, talking to someone when you need support. So dia multifactorial untuk mental illness. Dia bukan satu je masalah dia. So bila kita nak treat pun dia kena ada holistic treatment macam Puan Anita explain tadi lah.
Okay, so
ada moderator kita hari ni.
okay, so
Deep
proceed
breathing.
dengan next question. So talking about recovery just now, one of the participants asked, if I was in mental health treatment, Dr. Jana, how do I know if the treatment is having effect, and can people heal from the mental illness after she or he undergo the treatment?
Dr. Jana, you're
Dr.
mute.
Jana,
Sorry, I like to mute myself. So the first thing that kita tahu that we are improving is when we start treatment, regardless of medication ke, counselling ke, atau psychological therapy, talking therapy, is that apa yang membuatkan kita datang tu, simptom yang kita datang with akan rasa improvement. Okay, because I think there won't be time for round 2, so I'm just going to share the slides that I've done so that it answers the question. Even yang tadi pun ada orang dah tanya soalan tapi tak. So how do we know kan yang kita feel better? Okay, basically during COVID-19 it's common to feel stress, overwhelmed, anxiety, worry, sadness, okay? And then kita ada physical symptoms such as increased heart rate, kita rasa jantung berdegup laju, kita ada frustration, irritability, agitation, rasa helpless, susah nak concentrate, rasa disconnected from others and trouble relaxing, always on the edge je. So when to get help? Anytime. Yang macam Puan Anita dah explain tadi is KKM punya website ada all the number for telecounselling. You can call, talk to someone anytime. Jangan tunggu dah teruk. I think Puan Anita explained well. And then important conditions such as depression, anxiety and suicidal ideas. You feel hopeless, you feel there's no need to live, you feel you want to die, then these are important conditions. You lagi perlu seek help. So signs of anxiety is persistent worry, restlessness, irritable, excessive worry, untuk benda yang sebenarnya kecil je tapi kita excessive worry and then tak boleh tidur, always on the edge. And anxiety is very common masa COVID. I always get phone calls from patients, from relatives, and they are very worried about COVID, and it's normal to have it. So when to get treatment untuk anxiety atau panic attacks, atau depression, okay? And these are the signs and symptoms that you have when you went for treatment. And when you start treatment, these are the signs and symptoms yang hopefully akan progress, akan improve. So that's how you know you are improving, you are recovering, okay? With all the 4 things, talking therapy, with your spiritual treatment, with your social support, with medications if you're having medication. So as a student, how do you know you're doing better? Is if you can concentrate better in class, you can start doing your work, assignment, you can have a daily routine, your sleep and eating is okay, but it's not all rosy, okay? Recovery has ups and downs. There are good days, there are bad days. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just give yourself space. You want to just have a bad day, you can't avoid it. Just we get help, get support from Allah SWT, get support from family, from friends, so that we are in this together. Okay, fighting mental illness needs a lot of support. So let's do it together. Don't just be alone. Okay, I jawab tak soalan tu?
Dia jawab.
Sekejap. Okay, I stop sharing sekejap ya.
Okay. Okay, so um, next question. Besides the signs and of the mental disorders, one of the participants shared that this question is for Ustad. My mom was too paranoid about COVID. I know moms are stressed, but I don't want my mom to be overly concerned and depressed. How to help her because I was afraid of interrupting her health.
Okay. Okay. Terima kasih pada bertanya kan. Daripada apa yang ditanya tu, maksudnya saya boleh tengok dekat sini terlalu paranoid tu maknanya preference mak tu adalah future oriented. Maksudnya dia jenis orang yang jenis mana pandang ke depan. Kelebihan dia kalau mungkin kita boleh berkomunikasi, mungkin mak yang banyak maknanya rancang untuk keluarga, untuk anak-anak dan sebagainya, sebab dia preference adalah future oriented kan. Jadi kelemahan orang yang prefer future oriented ni kadang-kadang dia terlalu paranoid, terlalu takut, terlalu macam ada delusional belief. Delusional belief berkaitan dengan ini akan jadi macam mana, dan akhirnya dia akan jadi akan panic attack, dia akan jadi macam takut sangat, kerisauan melampau. Jadi maknanya kalau nasihat saya pertama sekali ajak mak tu mak macam gini, jangan biarkan dia baca mengenai COVID ni banyak-banyak. dia boleh baca untuk pengetahuan. Kalau dia makin banyak baca, dia akan lagi terbentuk delusional belief dia secara real. Maknanya dia rasa macam ni akan jadi apa semua. So maksudnya nasihatkan mak jangan baca banyak-banyak, ambil tahu tu cukup. Dan juga ajak dia kepada present oriented lah. Maksudnya okey, sekarang ni dah makin okey, negara kita makin okey, cuba kita tengok peningkatan pun maksudnya okey, kita antara di dunia yang sembuh cepat, jangan risau. Maknanya kalau sekarang peningkatan pun orang warga asing, maknanya bagi tempatan, maknanya kongsikan dia, share dengan dia benda-benda yang present sekarang, biar dia tak terlalu sangat. Ada yang baki itu doa lah, doa. Saya suka ajarkan macam mana Puan Anita sebut tadi, zikir la haula wala quwata illa billah al-aliyyil azim, sangat-sangat hebat kesan dia. Zikir itu sebenarnya zikir yang Nabi SAW ajar. Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala sendiri ajar Nabi SAW untuk melegakan benda-benda emosi kita, di samping mengawal daripada benda-benda rohani yang tak baik. Syaitan ni memang kerja dia berbisik-bisik, dia menakut-nakutkan kita. Alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, yang membisik-bisik dan menakutkan hati manusia. Maksudnya nasihat saya 3 benda tadi, maksudnya kita faham mak tu dulu, jangan cakap mak come on mak, maknanya tak sesimpel itu. Kalau kita jenis present oriented, mak takkan jadi semudah itu untuk jadi macam tu. So maknanya itu pertama kena faham mak, okay? Ada awareness, dia berbeza dengan kita. Yang keduanya jangan presentkan dia. Maknanya jangan tahu dia fikir ke depan, positifkan dia selalu dengan cerita-cerita terkini. Dan yang ketiga zikir lah, paling senang la haula wala quwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Allahu akbar.
Okay, insyaAllah. Terima kasih Ustaz. So moving on to our next question for Puan Anita. What if bottling up their emotions is the only way they know how to deal with everything? They don't necessarily not know it is bad, but it's the only method they know.
Okay. I think, to be fair, I think most people know that bottling up emotions isn't good. But I think that it takes courage to be able to talk about it. Kan? Sebab kalau if you see, I think it was last year, no, 2 years ago, during World Mental Health Day, I think the theme was depression. Let's talk. Imagine WHO had to do, a huge campaign to make it a theme in order to encourage people to talk about it. So really, for the person asking, please do not bottle up your emotions. Please share. Please find that courage. Please find someone that you trust, because I think what is important is, even when you want to reach out for the help, don't just talk to someone, not any Tom, Dick and Harry. You have to find a person that you can trust and a person that is neutral. This is very important, because not everyone has empathy, which is unfortunate, but empathy is a skill that we can all learn, which is good. So you have to find someone that has empathy, that has compassion, that is neutral. I think this is very helpful. A lot of times family members would be very ideal, tapi kadang-kadang family members can also be the hardest upon us. Biasalah kita sebagai manusia, kita lebih keras dengan ahli keluarga sendiri. I think it's pretty standard. Tapi on the other, side of the coin is, family members are our strongest support system. So at the end of the day, please find that courage. Please reach out for the help. Like I said earlier, if you ignore it, it'll become worse. It doesn't get better. And I think if it can give you a little bit of calmness ataupun reassurance is, everyone struggles, just different kinds. And again, some people are better at hiding it than others. But help is available. Whatever mental health condition that is out there, it is treatable. There are treatments for it. With support, with help, you can recover. You can become normal, productive individual as before, and even better than before, really, because you will then not take life for granted anymore. And one of the greatest gift, if I can share, is through my own journey, the greatest gift yang Allah SWT berikan kepada saya is the gift of empathy. I always say this. Dulu-dulu, before this, because of everything that Allah has, given me, that I thought I was invincible, and this was the problem sebenarnya. So, Alhamdulillah for everything. So, reach out for the help. A person that you can trust.
Okay, thank you, Puan Anita. So, speaking of, one of the participants asked, so if are we being inconsiderate if we ask our friend on the progress of assignment, not with intention to put pressure on them, but in case if they are unable to do it, we would like to help?
No, it's totally fine. But I think that sometimes how we say it is something that we need to learn. So it's communication skills lah kan. So vocabulary kadang-kadang tak cukup. Even in mental health, I always say our emotional vocabulary, to give it context, is very minimal. Kalau orang tanya how are you, we always limit our well-being to I'm fine, I'm okay, macam tu je. Kita punya emotional vocabulary ni betul-betul sangat limited. Padahal there's so many ways of expressing ourselves, and this is something that we need learn. So sama juga, of course, asking progress of assignment is definitely a very proactive, you are a very proactive team member, team player sebenarnya ni. Tapi mungkin cara kita tanya tu, so the way we ask matters as well.
Okay, so also the next question for Puan Anita. Should students struggling with mental illness disclose to group mates, lecturers, etc.? I feel anxious in doing group work because I feel like I'm not able to contribute as much, especially since ODL.
Okay, this, I mean, if you want my own personal view, I would say yes, please disclose it. Tapi of course there are different circumstances kan sebenarnya, and the better answer would be it really depends. Tapi because I'm a mental health advocate, so my job is to reduce stigma, is to provide insight. So I would say, all of us that are struggling, we need to normalize this discussion surrounding mental health, taking away the shame from mental health condition. Kita kata break this prejudice, the stereotypes and all this, but it takes a certain kind of personality juga sebenarnya. So my short answer would be it really depends. Tapi I think that if you share it, if you disclose it, sebenarnya you will feel liberated. Sebab it's, when you don't share it kan, dia macam we're hiding something kan. So I think that it's always better to share. Sebab kalau you've already shared it, and if you're not well at a certain point, then it's easier for you to explain yourself rather than orang ingat macam you tak datang for the team group meeting ni sebab you malas ke, tengok-tengok bila pergi bilik tengah tidur, padahal kita tengah struggle dengan mental health condition ni. So my advice is always just be honest, sebab at the end of the day stigma will always be there, prejudice, stereotypes akan sentiasa ada, tapi the moment you reveal, you talk about it, that is an opportunity to explain. It becomes an opportunity to educate, and this is so important in breaking the stigma. If all of us do that, then finally one day kita boleh reach, hopefully, inshallah, a zero stigma society where no person is left behind, inshallah.
All right. So I guess this is the last question. For Ustaz Muhammad Amin, close friends and family can be very judgmental. Talking to the wrong people can be scary and make us cautious. Sharing to strangers like counselors or psychiatrists is uncomfortable. Is there any other suggestions? And does waking up every day hating on myself is a sign of mental illness?
Okay. Okay, so kadang-kadang betul juga maksudnya kita nak jumpa sekretari, doktor, orang tu adalah orang yang asing bagi kita kan. So jadi maknanya kita rasa macam tak selesa masuk pejabat dia pun kita rasa tak selesa. So kita lebih selesa untuk cakap dengan kawan-kawan. Tapi sebenarnya sama juga tak semua orang macam mana Puan Anita sebut ni, tak semua orang dia ada empati dan simpati yang tinggi tau. Tak semua orang. Hatta family members sendiri pun kan. So di mana sebab itu kalau kita nak kongsi dengan satu orang permasalahan, dia ada jenis orang dia. Okey, kalau dalam ini kalau saya cerita dalam mana teori Imam Ghazali lah kan. Maksudnya umumnya manusia ni dah ada empat berdasarkan ayat Quran, wa ja'ala lakumus sam'a wal absara wal afidah qalilan ma tashkurun. Maknanya dijadikan kamu ni ada akal, ada mata, ada telinga, ada hati ya. Sikit kamu appreciate benda ni. Okey, saya cerita sikit jenis orang Ini umum tau, umum. Ini perbahasan ni setengah hari atau satu hari perbahasan. Saya konkludkan dalam 3 minit. Kalau anda faham, anda main terror. Okey. So jadi kita dipanggil sebagai syakhsiyah akliyah atau kita panggil istilah orang akal. Orang akal ini istilah saja. Tapi orang akal ni jenis orang yang saya sebut tadi future oriented lah. Dia adalah jenis orang yang purpose, maknanya future oriented. Maknanya pemikiran dia adalah memandang depan. Orang akal, jenis orang akal, sudut emotion agak kurang sikit. Ada kita panggil sebagai orang mata. Orang mata ni syakhsiyah basariah. Orang mata ni maknanya jenis orang yang nak cepat-cepat. Dia lebih pada present oriented, cepat. Satu benda tu nak cepat-cepat. Ada dipanggil orang telinga. Orang telinga ni jenis orang yang present oriented. Dia adalah orang yang detail. Dia present tapi detail. Orang detail SOP, kalau masuk kedai tu satu kedai, lepas 3 jam balik kedai pertama balik.
Ustaz ni macam camdik saya je Ustaz.
Okay. Jadi orang telinga dengan syakhsiah sam'iyah. Ada orang kita panggil sebagai syakhsiah hissiyah, orang hati lah. Orang hati ni adalah orang yang fikir bagi pihak orang. Jenis dia fikir bagi pihak orang. Kalau dia fikir positif, dia fikir orang. Kalau dia fikir negatif, dia akan terlalu fikir diri dia. Kan? Jadi maknanya untuk nasihat sebenarnya Shirley kena cari orang hati lah kita panggil. Orang yang fikir bagi pihak orang. Orang fikir orang fikir bagi pihak orang ni, dia tengok orang dia akan fikir, dia ni kan sedih kan, kenapa masalah dia ni kan? Mesti dia ni macam ni. Dia fikir bagi pihak kita tau. Kan? So maksudnya ada jenis orang macam ni. Jadi kalau nak nasihat satu macam Puan Anita sebut tadi, tak semua, hatta family members pun tak semua yang mungkin boleh dengar. Kan? Kadang-kadang kalau dia bukan jenis orang yang maknanya orang yang orang hati kita panggil maksudnya dia kita tanya masalah tu dia bukan nak dengar sebagai simpati, dia nak okey ni masalah aku mesti selesaikan. Kau kena macam ni, itulah kau punya pasal dia ni. Akhirnya kita disalahkan balik kan. Tu jenis orang. So maknanya memanglah maksudnya dan kepada saya kaunselor, sekretaris ada orang yang ditrain secara maknanya secara skill untuk jadi orang hati, walaupun mungkin dia bukan orang hati secara skill. So pergilah jumpa kaunselor, sekretari, psikologis untuk cerita bahagian-bahagian permasalahan Pada saya sebahagian ustaz pun boleh kita kongsikan sebab dia ditrain untuk dengar, sabar dengan cakap orang kan. Sebab bukan semua tau, sebahagian. Allahuakbar.
Okay, so I guess I would like to address a wrap-up question. This is open to panelists to answer. Maybe just a short answer because we're running out of time. So, how can we change our perceptions to embrace the existence of mental health disorders and importance of sustaining our mental well-being? What can we do to help those who are in need and those who are in denial?
Ini soalan untuk
This is open to any panelist.
ini Dr. Jannah lah, Dr. Jannah yang sebut circle tadi tu circle tu.
Grief circle. Okay, saya start dulu ke moderator?
Ya, boleh je.
Okay. Sorry, macam obses pula dengan slide saya kan, tapi sebab saya sebab saya nak orang yang tak tanya soalan tu mesti ada take home message lah. Okay, so interventions, what can we do with COVID-19 punya uncertainties ni kan, mental health crisis. Let's go through this together. So I'll be fast so that I tak ambil banyak time. First is learn how to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. All the preventive measures, and hand sanitizing, social distancing is very important because we need to stop this pandemic so that we can go back to our usual routine. Most importantly is acknowledge your feelings, and have a routine. With online learning, you need to have a routine. Kalau tak, everything is haywire. And a lot of people has sleep cycle reversal, terbalik, tidur siang and bangun malam. Of course sebab rentetan daripada Ramadan juga, but now is a good time to go back to our normal sleep cycle balik, our normal activities di mana kita still maintain our preventive measure for COVID-19. And when we say acknowledge our minimal vocab, memang betul. Kita Asian very minimal vocab. To tell you the truth, I just lost my mom a month ago during COVID-19. It was, I think, the hardest time of my life. And Alhamdulillah, I had very good support. But I was shocked to know when I sat back that I had only few words to actually describe my feelings. At the end of the day, when people ask me how do I feel, I just said, I have no words to describe how I feel. And as a psychiatrist kan, macam, I do psychology stuff. So we are all affected the same way. So 5 basic feelings is sadness, joy, fear, anger, disgust. Okay, the easiest way to go about it is let's identify how we feel at each moment that may be difficult or easy for us. Okay, and turn towards your emotions. Accept that emotions are there, label that emotion, accept that this is what you're feeling. If you're angry, yes, I'm angry. It's better to accept what you're feeling rather than leave it there, bottling up. Macam Puan Anita cakap, bottling up, it will become worse and worse. Yeah, and benda ni sama, mindfulness ni is exactly like what Ustaz Amin cakap tadi. That's why I suspect Ustaz Amin ni sebenarnya ada belajar psikologi. So this is what mindfulness is. Kita nak stay in the present moment. Okay, so bila solat tu, our mind is, listening to what we are saying, what we are reciting, our body movement, so we are at the present moment. Kalau kita kat future, we are easily anxious, macam Ustaz Amin cakap, and if we are always in the past, kita senang depressed. We're always depressed. Padahal there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to be grateful for, banyak nak bersyukur dengan present moment ni ya. So slow down, take do these 5 things. Senang je, guna your senses. Bila you nak be in the present, list 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste, so that you can take deep breath and be in the present moment. Jangan tengok depan sangat, jangan tengok belakang sangat. Okay, stay connected, keep learning and maintain your study. Okay, remember that physical distancing does not need to mean social disconnection. Call, text, video chat your friends, family. Okay, especially kalau your family is far, talk to your elderly. If they are very anxious or paranoid, just listen. Let them talk dulu. Let them ventilate out all that paranoia and anxiety. Then we reassure them. Okay. Contribute, kita sedekah, donation, infak, whatever that you can do with your energy, time or money, anything. It will give you a feel good feeling, insyaAllah. Okay, treatment saya dah cakap tadi. So on and off, kita akan jadi macam ni. Okay, on and off akan ada, that feeling of boredom, loneliness, anxiety, uncertainty. Let's accept that this emotion will come and go. But remember that feelings and emotion is not just one, okay? It can be mixed, okay? So I learned when I lost my mom that I can be patient, but there still is pain because I miss her. I can be grateful to Allah because she passed away during, but I am still grieving. So we can have a lot of mixed emotion, but inshallah there's always light at the end of the tunnel, okay? Okay, that's from me. That's my summary. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jana. Perhaps from Puan Anita to sum up our forum.
Boleh. Alright. Thank you very much everyone, and thank you very much Ustaz Amin. Terima kasih banyak-banyak, and thank you very much Dr. Nurjana for all the insights and knowledge sharing. Okay, I think mine would be a very short one. I think we all have to understand that we are all fragmented souls, and what this means that we are part of one soul. So apabila one part gets hurt, we are all hurt. So obviously for this very reason, when we help another person, we ourselves will feel helped. Kan? So I encourage everyone to help one another. I think that bila kita dah nak sampai akhir zaman ni, a lot of times kita become very individualistic, unfortunately. When it is something that does not concern us, it becomes very difficult to help. Tapi I think this is a very big opportunity, and especially during such times as COVID-19 ini. And like I shared earlier kan pasal surrendering totally kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, I think this is also the other time. And I think my husband gave me that great reminder when I was struggling the first 2 weeks during the MCO tu, because I was so worried about COVID-19, about getting infected, about my anxiety levels were off the roof semua. And he told me, he said, you know what, Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala yang bagi, dan Allah jugalah yang boleh ambil balik. So I think this is a very very important reminder, and I think being mindful, ataupun kalau kita translate into Islamic punya term, kita kena khusyuk, okay, khusyuk and mindful yang kedudukan kita di muka bumi ni, yang Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala ada di atas. Jadi sama-sama kita terus teguh prasangka baik dengan Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, kerana di sebalik segala ujian pasti ada hikmah dan rahmat Allah sangat luas, insya-Allah.
Thank you, Puan Anita. Ustaz Amin, any last word before we end our forum?
Okay, saya punya kesimpulan pendek dia. Harap boleh ingat. Dunia untuk diurus, bukan untuk dirungsingkan. Kita di dunia, dunia untuk diurus. Uruskan semaksimal yang kita mampu, baki serah pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Kalau kita rungsing, dia tak habis. Rungsing tak pernah habis. Kan ada dia. So kita uruskan semaksimal mungkin. So dunia untuk diurus, bukan untuk dirungsingkan. Wallahualam.
Thank you, Ustaz Amin. So I guess we're getting close to the end of our time together. But before I end, this is a shout out to all of the survivors. We are allowed to feel what we feel. You are allowed to feel what you feel. It's okay to feel unstable. It's okay to dissociate. It's okay to not be okay. Your mental illness is not a it's not a personal failures. So you may take a break, but don't stay down there for too long. Give yourself some care, the same care, and rise up and watch yourself bloom. This too shall pass, and I believe in all of us, in all of you, that you can do this. One day we all can look back and proudly say that, yes, I survived that. So thank you to all the panelists today forum. Thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion, and really looking forward to your participation in our future programs. So I'll pass the chair to our MC for the day.
Before that, Fatini, before that, I would like to, before we have a photo session after this, I'm on behalf of the Faculty of Law, and also I think Dr. Lin is also here, Professor Madhya, TS Dr. Lin.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, both of us, we would like to thank to Dr. Jannah, Ustaz Amin, and also Puan Anita for being here with us today to share your knowledge and also experience with our students, not also with our students. I think we have Jemaah, Ustaz punya Jemaah, we have members of Puan Anita, and also pesakit-pesakit Dr. Jannah is also here. And I want to admit that Dr. Jannah is my secretary, Puan Anita is my counselor for my circle time with Miasa, and Ustaz Amin is my Ustaz masa I tengah ada mental illness. Sampai sekarang pun memang ada mental illness. So three of them are my support system, even though I'm here now. But yes, like I saw a question just now. Is mental illness can be cured? I think Dr. Jannah, correct me if I'm wrong. No.
No.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Lin. Maybe you want to say something, Dr. Lin, to everyone?
Alhamdulillah, terima kasih banyak-banyak semua panel-panel. Alhamdulillah so far Fakulti Komputer Elektrik first time dengar sangatlah berkenaan dengan tajuk ni. Ni benda baru sebab kita orang lebih pada teknikal dan banyak ilmu yang kami pelajari dan cara-cara menangani masalah ini. Dan terima kasih banyak-banyak saya ucapkan pada Dr. Jannah, Puan Anita dan juga Ustaz. Terima kasih banyak-banyak ya.
Thank you.
Kita jemput lagi.
Jumpa lagi insyaAllah. Terima
InsyaAllah.
kasih semua. So kita ambil gambar.
Okay.
So we control Mia, Ideal.
Yeah.
Pernah akan ambil gambar. Who will control this one? Macam mana? How to click the photo?
Just push the click button.
Screenshot ke? Dr. Ifan nak screenshot?
Tak Mia, boleh ambil pakai handphone kan?
Screenshot je lah sebab gambar sekarang ni dia technical, very technical.
Saya try contact orang.
Okay dah. I do it
Okay.
now.
Hakim, ada dah screen.
I don't see you part ini ada okay. 1, 2, 3 okay now. Done. Terima kasih semua lagi sekali.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum. Ustaz.
Thank you.